Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany and this is my colleague Shweta. and
Hi.
Today we're going to do a very special video because I know a lot of you are foreign trained dentists and are very interested in becoming a dentist and practicing in the United States. So I thought what better way than to interview somebody who's definitely went through the process. Shweta, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to become a dentist?
I'm Shweta Jain. I'm from India. And to begin with, I think I was always interested in dentistry since childhood. Like, I've seen a lot of family members having dental issues, but then I've had good experience also that, there was a situation when my mom's face was completely swollen up and we had rushed to a dentist. And after treatment, it's like the next day, it seemed like there was nothing. So as a child, you feel, wow, that's magic, right? Because you always know it takes time to heal, but hey, look at this. We didn't know that oral tissues heal faster than others too. So a lot of instances otherwise also got me to dentistry. We had a camp, we were introduced to patients, like they were just showing us how underprivileged and deprived those children were. That's how I grew interest in dentistry. And but well, dentistry had a different plan for me. So after my high school, I could not continue education, and I had to wander off the field. I did some odd jobs. I kind of had financial crisis, so tried to make up for that. But then when life gave me an opportunity, I grabbed it with both hands. So that's how I got into dental school in India. And when I completed dentistry in India, I remember my mentor telling me that you need broader platforms to showcase your talent. And I'm like, what do you mean, sir? He's like, no, you need to go abroad. You need to do something big. And I'm like, okay. I had no plans that time, Brittany, and everyone like trust me that I would leave my country and come. Forget USA, as I'm saying, I had no plans for leaving the country. But well, as time went on, I was practicing dentistry, and I had almost 3.5 years of clinical experience before deciding to move to this country. Simultaneously, I also found my soulmate here, so we decided to get married, and that's how I came to US. And like you all, I was clueless what to do for pursuing dentistry in this country.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And that kind of brings us to our next question. So, what was the process like?
There are multiple aspects before you're applying. So we need to get ourselves acquainted to few things and words here. The first and foremost is that the dental education outside of the United States is not GPA based, most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to convert our educational credentials into a GPA format. There are two evaluation systems, ECE and WES, and both can convert them into a GPA format, which will be required to apply to any dental school. Second thing is you have to make an account with ADA, CAPID. Like you need a dent pin. A dent pin is a personal identification number. And then you need to make different accounts to give you a part 1, part 2. Those are the examination, the national boards. As an international student, you also need to give TOEFL. That's the English speaking exam. And written, it has 4 different paths. A list of schools that have international programs. Okay, so every school have slight different requirements. My honest suggestion is to review each school's website and their requirements. They have a list of schools which can be covered by a central application, as we are talking about CAPID. Mm-hmm. And there are few schools which do not come under CAPID. In the meanwhile, you can have your letter of evaluations going on and start writing your personal statement.
So what's the next step after applying? What do you do?
So here comes the waiting period. Like we're always waiting while you're preparing for giving your part 1, part 2. The window is very, very important for the application. CAPID opens in March. On 1st of March, and I would really like to stress upon this. The earlier you apply, the better chances for you to receive a call for the interview or the bench test. So what they ask during the bench test, I'll give you a brief about that. Anything from an amalgam or composite class 2 preparation. They can ask a crown preparation for a full ceramic or metal ceramic restoration. They can ask restorations like composite and amalgam. And we know, Brittany, we just gave our reb this time, and this is all what we did during the reb, right?
Yes.
So that's major part of most of the schools. But some schools do ask RPD designing, surveying. Some schools do ask you to perform endo, exactly the way we did for the rep, like an anterior tooth from start to end, access to obturation, posterior tooth access only. Some also ask you to do wax carving. Like, you know, a block. Yes, they do. So yeah, it's like, and that's why I said every school have different requirements. Once you apply to all these schools, you should try and reach out to students who got accepted into those schools to gain more information about how to prepare yourself better when you receive that call.
Yeah. That's great. It seems like it's a lot more complicated than
yes,
what I had to do.
It is certainly.
Yeah. So I think one of the big questions that a lot of my viewers ask is how do you strengthen your resume?
The first thing you have to understand is GPA is not everything. I have known people with GPA less than 3.0 and even people with 4.0 get an equal opportunity to be tested for the bench test and interview. So GPA is important, but it is not everything. The other things you can do to strengthen your resume is always be connected to dentistry. So either you're doing some preceptorship program or an advanced clinical training, certificate program, anything is doable. You can also volunteer. We have a lot of volunteering work that can be dental or non-dental. Feel free to, you know, go out into the community or any volunteer center and do that. You can also work as a dental assistant, or you can be registered or non-registered. I know most of y'all do not know that, yes, you can work as a dental assistant even if you are not registered. It's only that your duties are limited compared to a registered dental assistant. So yes, you can do that. Or you can even do any course which is related to dentistry, like on ceramics. If you get an opportunity, please continuing education. You can do it online, you can do them live, you can do some hands-on courses. Nothing goes for a waste at the end of the day. So these are the various ways you can strengthen your CV.
Good. I'm glad to hear that it's not only just GPA. That's really nice.
Trust me, it's not only GPA.
So what about research?
Yes, I heard a lot of students get into research. It can be dental based, but it can also be biomedical, science based, or biology based. It doesn't have to be restricted to dental based. A lot of schools, if you look on their websites, they are research oriented schools. And if you're staying around one of them, or if you can, you should apply to these, and you can always become a research assistant. You might even get an opportunity to present your papers or small posters, and yes, that's another way of strengthening your CV, certainly.
What about masters? I know some people are curious if they should do that, or like, what is your opinion on that?
While the waiting period goes on, when you're doing your national boards, you're doing your TOEFL, your application, I would say all in all, it does take 1.5 to 2 years before you actually start your program. So the other route is you can apply for MPH, Masters in Public Health, or MHA, Health Administration, and you can do 1 or 2 years program along with doing all your application. So you do have a master's degree, which might help you further. And you're not wasting your time, you're a student that time. Apart from this, if you are not aware, let me tell you, you can directly apply to the specialty in dentistry also.
Oh,
Being an
yes.
international trained dentist, you are given the opportunity in a lot of schools to apply directly to their specialty program. So if you are certain, say, for example, you want to do pediatric dentistry, or say you want to do periodontology, you might think of it as a better option because you might save the number of years and apply to these schools. They have another cycle called as pass application, and some schools are match based, non-match based. I personally know a lot of students who have got directly into the master's program.
That's great. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. So for an international student, like how does the visa process work?
Oh, very good question. So I understand that, most of them who are applying for international dental program are not citizens or green card holders of this country. You have to apply either in F1 category or probably J1 in some instances, but I'll say that 90% of them would be in the F1 category. You can also apply to this program being on a dependent visa like F2 or H4. Okay. F1 is a primary student category. When you apply for it, you just need to know that the school where you're applying does have an SEVP program where they can issue you an I-20, and that's how you'll get your F1. The other advantage of being on F1 is that if you can complete one academic year, that is 9 months or more on a program, you will be eligible for OPT. OPT is optional practical training, where you get a temporary work authorization for 1 year and an extension until you get your H1B, that's your employment visa authorization done. So that's a very, very good route for most of the students.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for explaining it to us. I know that can get really confusing.
Yeah.
So another question that I have that I guess a lot of people are concerned with is, can you talk a little bit about the cost?
I'll give you a range of cost, which might not be the exact figure one needs, but when you're applying, especially on an F1 visa, you need to show the government that yes, you have enough tuition or money to take care of your expenses. Please do not forget, if you are going to bring someone who is dependent on you, a dependent can be spouse, child, or your own parents. You need to have enough money to show that yes, you will take care of your expenses, your tuition, and the dependent person. Yes, that's very important for those who want to come on a student visa. So to give you a ballpark of the cost of tuition, I will tell you a figure which is a range for per year, which will include your tuition and your living expenses. And then depending on where your program is, you can do the math and do the addition further. Anything from 80,000 to 130,000 per year is what the tuition of different school programs are. And you need at least 24,000 minimum dollars for your living and other expenses annually, to 35,000 if it's a city, if it's like Los Angeles and you got into UCLA. Housing is expensive, everything is expensive there, right? Compared to Loma Linda, where we had our education, housing is not that expensive. So it's a range, and I would say you should be ready for 80 to 130,000 range, depending on which school you're picking up per year.
Are there any scholarships?
Very few, to be true. Being an international student, you are not eligible for a lot of scholarships. Most of them require you to be a citizen or a green card holder. but there are few scholarships which you can apply to. ASDA, ADEA, Colgate do have their scholarships, which are GPA based or say service learning, volunteer work based. Loma Linda University, because I was a student of it, I have a little more knowledge about them that
Mm-hmm.
every year you do get an opportunity to apply to the in-house school scholarships, and they have various scholarships which will reflect from your GPA plus all the other activities around it. It's a very simple application for most of them. Some may require you to do a 2-minute video about yourself, or about your dental school. What else have you been doing during dental school? Some may require you to write a small essay of 450 to 500 words. But you definitely get anything from $1,000 to $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
I did get a $2,000 scholarship.
Oh, good.
So, yes, a little money, a little help in whatever
Yeah.
way, and that was very helpful. So yes, you do get few scholarships, but not many.
So are there like loan options available?
If you are a citizen or a green card holder, you can apply for federal loan. The interest rates are lower, their payback terms are a little more easier than the others, but majority of them can go for private loans. You always do not need a co-signer. I know that private loans, people always think that, oh, how do I find someone in this country who I don't even know, but who'll be ready to have faith in me and
Yeah.
co-sign a loan, which is close to $250,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't worry, there are few loan companies which will give you a loan without a co-signer, but hey, you don't have everything on your plate, so your interest rate might be slightly higher
Mm-hmm.
compared to others, and your payback terms may be different. But yes, there are companies which you can apply for private loans. Please be careful to check which school you get accepted into,
Mm-hmm.
because not all schools accept loans from all banks or companies.
Oh no, wow. Hi everyone, editing Brittany here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for making it to the end of part 1 of this video. Just wanted to let you know that be sure to watch part 2, where Shweta goes over the interview questions. She goes over what was different between dentistry in the United States and in her home country in India, and of course everybody's most wanted question: was it worth it? Was it all worth it? So be sure to keep watching and look out for part 2.